they really are that fun to watch, and hell, they're having fun while winning. And this isn't a knock on the other teams in MPL Philippines, but there's just something about Team Liquid Philippines that is so fun to see. And I think one of the reasons for that is because JP and Sanji are just playing on a different level so far this season. And when those two are on, it makes it so much easier for Sanford and Karl to do their jobs, which then in turn makes it so easy for Oheb to have a lot of fun and to shine as well. So we're going to start things first off highlighting their match or their game against Falcons Philippines. Now in this one, they were clearly struggling up against the glue of FlapTzy, and we pointed that out in the draft that the glue will be the biggest problem, and TLPH needed to come up with a way to counter it and answer it. So one of the turnaround moments of this was in this. They were finally able to pick off FlapTzy in this engagement. The moment Karl and JP saw the glue, once they got the info, JP locked it in. And one thing I like is that TLPH just didn't dive on the glue, Spear of Alpha, but they also were able to sidestep Ogwen, who's gonna enter in here, and he actually gets nothing because Sanford was able to jump up in the air as the Fovius. Everyone in Team Liquid Philippines got the sidestep. Because Team Liquid Philippines were able to avoid Ogwen, they were able to continue this sequence, which we will now watch here. They'll go forward, Sanford will get taken down, but what builds for this is advantage. Without the glue, and without Ogwen having his ultimate, and to be fair, TLPH also don't have a lot of ultimates on their side, except for Sanji, who's holding on to the Raging Sandstorm of the Khalid, they have an advantage for this Lord. This is where the turnaround for TLPH would begin, as KarlTzy was able to hold the right shrub alongside Sanji. They're able to take that. KarlTzy was spotted out, and KarlTzy didn't hesitate to use the Spear of Alpha to make sure that they would get Kyle. After that, they would go ahead and continue, take down Kyle, and I like what TLPH does here, specifically Sanji. He uses the Raging Sandstorm. He sees KarlTzy is able to dash away, but he still has the Flicker with him. He decides to commit the Flicker to be able to slam down onto KarlTzy, take him down. Sanji sticking to Few to continue it as the Khalid turning back into the Valentina. Bam, Flicker, Raging Sandstorm. Sanji, with the enhanced basic attack of the Khalid, jumps over the wall, meaning that when he gets rid of the form of the Khalid, he has 2 dashes. He continues the aggression, takes down Few. Sanji will eventually get clipped, but Team Liquid Philippines are able to take this Lord. Look how JP is also sticking to Oheb when they decided to try and chase and push back Ogwen. And if you look back at that sequence, you actually see that it's JP sticking by Oheb's side. JP could have gone forward, been aggressive, but he decided to stick by the Granger, make sure that Oheb is safe, and TLPH are able to win the sequence. At this point in the game, Team Liquid Philippines have gained control, and now it's Falcons trying to vie for position around the second Lord of the game. And I like how Team Liquid Philippines held this. Sanji is holding a crucial shrub. What you think of this shrub is your engagement shrub, backline access, and it's one of the best to hold when it comes to the objective team fight. Sanji is holding it with a Raging Sandstorm ultimate, so he's cutting off entry into this. Sanford is also blocking as well, and if you decide to play the sequence, you see JP is also zoning out, getting information. They spot out where Kyle is. JP gets all the information in the world here that Team Liquid Philippines knows. You know what? Go ahead. This Lord is ours. JP doesn't need to commit into anything. He bumps into Flap, and the Terrify of Sanji stops what could have been the counter engage for FlapTzy's glue. Watch the glue. He goes into split, and watch what Sanji will do. Misses that first Shadow Strike. He gets knocked up in the air by JP. He gets bumped. The next Shadow Strike comes out, and well, yeah, at that point, the glue is terrified. So Team Liquid Philippines have shown that, you know what? We've adapted, the glue is a problem, and we're respecting it. And of course, now the winning siege of Team Liquid Philippines. Again, it's very impressive that they got to this point because they were coming from a deficit early on where the glue was proving to be very problematic for Team Liquid Philippines, but eventually they got to answer and turn their fortunes around. I really like how this was all started off here. Yes, they spot out Ogwen's Khalid in the bottom. They're controlling him. JP is flying around. But to me, the true start of this was when they were finally able to take Few out of the equation. You can take down the Khalid, you can take down the frontliner, but as long Few is alive, as long as Super Marco is alive and KarlTzy as well, Falcons will have the firepower to defend their base. Which is why it's a great thing that the moment Few was spotted out, KarlTzy did not hesitate. He would Spear of Alpha in, stuns and damages the Farsa, and Sanji went along with him as well. JP collapsing in, and Team Liquid Philippines is showing that they know what they need to do. Few was forced to use his feathered airstrike early. Oheb decides to flicker forward. Great Winter Crown as well. If I'm not mistaken, that's Karl with the Winter Crown. But yeah, Oheb flickers forward, has a clear shot onto Few, and bang, takes him out. Pops the Wind of Nature with the main magic damage dealer down. It's physical damage that Oheb needs to watch out for. Fast reflexes, and Oheb sticks to the wall. JP has his Guiding Wind to help him. Oheb gets his immortality popped. He actually bought it. That's a buy immortality by Oheb. He didn't have that when that sequence started. He bought that in the middle of all of that happening. The Guiding Wind is active, but Oheb just decides to commit the flicker. Cover as well, if I'm not mistaken, by Sanji. He covers the exit of Oheb with his own Raging Sandstorm, stealing the ultimate of the Khalid, making sure Kyle gets taken out by Oheb, who has already flickered past the wall. KarlTzy builds up an immortality for safety. Oheb gets a double, which eventually will lead to the Maniac and Team Liquid Philippines getting the win. Hey, if you're still here, thank you so much for sticking around and watching. If you haven't yet, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon. Not gonna stay here any longer. Go back to the video. This next play, or super long sequence that we're gonna look at now, actually sees the real-time conversion of Team Liquid Philippines in terms of controlling specific areas and their flow in the game. So this starts off with Sanford getting spotted out by the Selena of Few and FlapTzy backing up Few to try and take Sanford down. Now, this is why I really want to highlight JP and Sanji as one of the main reasons why I feel like Team Liquid Philippines is succeeding right now. They're just playing on a whole different level. They're not perfect, but they're playing on a whole different level. Gotta acknowledge that. So Few dashes out. He thought that FlapTzy will be able to secure the kill, and of course with the backup here, this wouldn't have been a good trade if it was 2 for 1. So at most they could potentially get a 1 for 1, but Sanford will survive. FlapTzy is forced to use the Unleash the Beast. Luckily JP didn't get hit by the Abyssal Arrow, so they could continue going forward as Falcons decide to go back. And I like what Sanji does here. So with how Falcons are positioned right now, they could have re-engaged. You already see the combo getting dished out by Flap. At this point, the Lucas will be able to do a good amount of damage while healing himself through. And although what they have to watch out for is they know that the Harith is on the way. They want to force this in the hopes that they could take down the Harith, because eventually Super Marco will be able to join in the fight. But all of that gets stopped by Sanji just using that one feathered airstrike, and this stops the re-engage. FlapTzy gets a hit. He's forced to go back. KarlTzy and Oheb are in good position to chase though, and you will see that Falcons decides to respect it. Few will toss out the Abyssal Arrow, which is why Sanji decided to cancel the feathered airstrike really quickly. He could have held on to that, maybe get another hit, but since he already saw Few coming from here, an Abyssal Arrow could have hit him. He decides to cancel it. And so this will continue on with FlapTzy down. TLPH will force it. Ogwen's Conceal gets spotted out. He's able to get a kick onto JP, but with this and with that ability spent, Team Liquid Philippines can continue. The curtain call of Sanford CC, the hero that was targeted by Falcons Philippines that started this whole engagement, actually got one of the most crucial portions here, which is he got the ultimate off onto Ogwen. Kyle is slowed as well, although I don't believe that's from the curtain call. But with that, they're able to take down Kyle. Good follow-up, go forward, and at the end of it all, only JP gets taken down. This sequence will continue, and because of the loss at the turtle, that opens up the upper portion of the map for Team Liquid Philippines, the bottom as well, as Super Marco was pulled out of his lane, and that's a little bit more advantage for Liquid. It goes in a bit of a lull, but you see Sanji again. Smart play here, using the feathered airstrike, not hesitating to bring FlapTzy and KarlTzy, forces a reaction. Few misses the abyssal arrow onto Sanji. Members of Falcons go back, and because of that, JP has free reign. If you look closely at the map, he's actually going to the orange buff of Falcons, so that's in this area, to show up and eventually take down FlapTzy with a shortcut. Because of everything that happened in the turtle, that was converted very well, great macro by Team Liquid Philippines, into an eventual shortcut pickoff, which, to the credit of KarlTzy, he thought that someone would be there. He checked. He actually used his skill to preempt it, but at that point, that's a easy lock in there for JP. Shortcut gets dropped down. KarlTzy gets surprised. Because of the pickoff onto KarlTzy in the mid, this opens up for a sequence in the mid lane for Team Liquid Philippines. They weren't able to get the tower here, but they will be able to get some crucial kills. One onto Flap, one into Ogwen, which means then that Team Liquid Philippines can convert this into a bottom side push, because now you don't have the roamer and EXP laner. Few is running. KarlTzy will not be able to stop that alone. That opens up the bottom portion of the map for Team Liquid. Now, again, it's a huge domino effect from the initial attempt to pick off Sanford by Falcons into a big win for Team Liquid Philippines. They get the bottom tower. Then they'll be able to convert this into a sequence in the mid lane that, again, once Team Liquid Philippines spots something out, they will not hesitate on the opportunity to dive, fight, and get the win. JP, luckily for him, he used this basic attack exactly when Ogwen flickered away, meaning that JP's entry was actually more devastating here for Falcon, because now it's not only Ogwen, you have FlapTzy who's forced to use Unleash the Beast, shortcut under the turret. That means the Zaman Force can get placed down, and Super Mark and Ogwen have to go back. FlapTzy are left alone, and Team Liquid Philippines will be able to get this turtle and then eventually able to convert it into more chaos in the center of the map. JP coming in from the back alongside KarlTzy. They push down mid, they get more kills, and it is here that it's 100% solidified by Team Liquid Philippines that they are in control of this game and most likely win this game, which they eventually did, sweeping Team Falcons Philippines. Now that we got a very good look at the positives in their series against Falcons, let's look at their series against Twisted Minds. This would be a sweep victory for Team Liquid Philippines, but there were times where, especially in game number 2, where it looked like Twisted Minds would be able to take it or were controlling the game. And in this sequence, you actually got to see one of the tendencies of Team Liquid Philippines that they need to watch out for. That was very evident last season, which is why they struggled. One of the reasons why they struggled last season is because, look, they decided to go for a full dive collapse onto James and to MP the King. They're low. It's 4 versus 2. Why not, right? That looks like a perfect call that you can make. But what happens is, Unleash the Beast immediately used up here by James. They get stunned, 3-man, and look at all the damage suddenly dealt out. TLPH will be able to recover and win this, but this was dicey. They could have lost so much here. If Hajizi and Sensui were just a step closer, this would have been bad for Team Liquid Philippines. Sanji walked away with a double kill, yes, but this very little thing, I'm pretty sure, is something that Team Liquid Philippines will potentially look at. I don't want to say sure, but they might look at as, okay, when we're gonna fully dive, fully engage, let's just make sure that an EXP laner is not there to mess with us. And that's something that we actually got to see not only in Twisted Minds but later on in their series against Omega. Let me show you another example against Twisted Minds though. Looking at this sequence against Twisted Minds in game number 2, this will force out some key abilities from Twisted Minds, but because they were able to survive the initial salvo brought out by Team Liquid Philippines, thanks to the Revitalize that Sensui has, the initial damage received by James and Tsutsui would eventually get healed through. Sanford is still in a very disruptive position, yes, and this Phoveus needs to be dealt with in this engagement. But you also have to acknowledge that, number one, Hajizi already just hit level 4, so he'll have his ultimate. Sanji, this is actually Sanji right here in this corner, he's only just about to hit level 3, and he won't be able to hit level 4 in this entire engagement. So, MP the King is getting bounced on, revitalizes up, but now Team Liquid Philippines are trapped in the real-world manipulation of Haji. This is a little bit early, but it allows Twisted Minds to regain control of the situation, forces Team Liquid Philippines to go back, recalibrate, and now for James to hold a very good position. KarlTzy, JP, and Sanford are healthy, but again, no level 4 on Sanji. If they had Feathered Airstrike here, would have been a different story. Or maybe not, because again, James is holding the very important position of accessing Sanji and disrupting him. So as we see the sequence goes out, Team Liquid Philippines will go forward, Sanford and JP. James shows himself in the back, and now you see JP, Sanford, KarlTzy all reacting to James's presence, pressuring Sanji. And now you see JP, Sanford, second guessing, okay, what do we do? Sanford spots out Twisted Minds. He says, okay, I'm going to go ahead and disrupt them. James just steps away for a bit, but comes back, and he's still disrupting Sanji, KarlTzy. You see JP holding here. He's holding a line for Sanji and KarlTzy. You're also seeing that he has a chance to help out Sanford here, who is now in the red. He's in the danger zone here. But then again, the Hilda is the problem. Sanji is not going to be able to poke down James. James shows himself at the right time. Sanford gets taken down. Clear advantage for Twisted Minds. KarlTzy, yes, is able to get the turtle, but they ended up giving a double kill to MP the King there in the end. But the second turtle of the game, though, you see the Team Liquid Philippines are finally acknowledging and adapting to what James brings to the table for these objective team fights. Sanji and JP will go up top. I like how JP is actually covering Sanji here, who is poking and showing himself to James to potentially pull him into the shrub. So Sanji just dueling out, poking against James, making it look like that no one is there close enough to help him, and that Sanji is just relying on wings by wings to be able to get away. Sanji will walk to the wall. James wants to walk into the shrub to win the positioning battle against Sanji, who's here. He has a clear check onto where Sanji will be, and if ever anyone decides to go here, James can cover this spot. What he doesn't know is that JP is actually there, and Team Liquid Philippines are ready to just jump on him. You see, that's everything used to take James down. Good adjustment by Team Liquid Philippines to respect the Hilda. KarlTzy would be able to get the turtle here, and this is where it slowly began the turnaround for Team Liquid Philippines and where they began their win in this game number 2. Now going on to their very exciting series against Smart Omega. Well, it didn't go well for them in game number 2 because eventually Omega would win it and force a game 3. Team Liquid Philippines won game 1 in convincing fashion. In game number 2, Omega were ready, and Lewis was one of the key figures there alongside Super Yoshi on, if I'm not mistaken, the very first Ruby pick of the season, going up against the Fanny of KarlTzy, Sanford's Cho, Sanji's Veil, JP's Gacha, and the Irithel of Oheb. With these two, you get two heroes who are very disruptive to all-in collapse team fights, especially that Ruby. So in this sequence, people are probably wondering, oh, what's JP doing? He gets picked off here. Well, yeah, but he's getting information and he's buying time. See, Lewis and Andorio get pulled here. Ukir's attention will get pulled here. You don't know where Super Yoshi is, though, but this increases the chances of KarlTzy and Sanji being able to go in, disrupt, potentially steal the turtle away, then go back. But since Super Yoshi, credit to him, showed himself, he already dashed in, tried to zone out Sanji. The moment KarlTzy sees Super Yoshi is there, he's just gonna back off. Because if that don't run Wolf King landed onto KarlTzy, that would have been bad. And that was a really risky engage if Karl decided to take it. So Omega will be able to take the turtle, and in usual fashion that we see for teams that get the first turtle close to where the opposing jungler's buff is about to spawn, they will try to make a move, and they do so with a diversion. KarlTzy gets forced back a bit, he readjusts, he sees the entry. TLPH will be able to counter this. KarlTzy will be able to walk away with a double kill and his buff, but KarlTzy will get taken down. Again, locked down by Lewis and Super Yoshi. Again, returning to the theme that we talked about earlier, that the right EXP lane pick, the right hero to disrupt, very aggressive, focused Team Liquid playstyle. That is your main tool, the EXP laner, alongside a good roamer with very good crowd control and disruptive capabilities. In the next invade that Omega pulled off, we see that yet again. Now, Team Liquid Philippines, once they see the Hilda going forward, they decide to commit onto it. Sanford decides to kick back Lewis, and Lewis just goes full aggro, knowing that the rest of Omega can come here. They decide to call it. Omega know, though, that they have to watch out for this Veil. And that's also why Team Liquid Philippines just decided to go all in as well on this Hilda of Lewis. Because they know that the entry of the other members of Omega would get blocked off by Sanji. But what happens is, Super Yoshi smartly decides to charge up the ultimate, the I'm Offended. You see the backswing right there. That's the initial backswing already. This animation of the Ruby ult. And then before the animation gets completed, he flickers forward. He catches the entirety of Team Liquid Philippines. Sanji, you see, though, he's able to counter. He's able to respond. But the sheer amount of damage that Omega just has is going to be too overwhelming. And Lewis ends up walking away with a double kill. Great EXP lane pick to mess up the aggressive nature of Team Liquid Philippines, paired up with a roamer, exactly what we were talking about. So one last example here of how a not so well-timed entry by Team Liquid Philippines and a good counterplay by the opponent can be the downfall of Team Liquid Philippines and their aggressive pick-off skirmish style nature. So you see Sanford entering here, and Team Liquid Philippines are in a perfect condition to go for an aggressive play that will collapse into the center of the map. Sanford and JP, I don't think they were able to fully hash out the timings completely right. I think this is something Team Liquid Philippines will work on here, because as you can see, as Sanford already Jeet Kundo kick, at this point, JP should be charging up the Gatot Kacha ultimate for this part of the map. But again, it all just happened in a flash. Don't think JP was ready for it. I think Sanford just decided to pull the trigger on that one. They weren't able to fully communicate it. Maybe, but that's what it's looking like, because JP is not able to land the ultimate here quite late for the Gatot Kacha. Jom is able to walk away with a triple kill onto this one. Oheb gets a little bit too close, not respecting Super Yoshi yet again, who committed the flicker ultimate as the Ruby, catching JP, Oheb. Double kill for Jom, and TLPH will lose that one. Now, as we all know, Team Liquid Philippines lost game number 2, but it was extended for around 30 minutes, and it's because of this sequence here. So, Andoryu and Lewis invade the purple buff of KarlTzy, another hungry Fanny, but he's been great so far. He's 6-2-0, almost 95% of the kills, or 99% of the kills went to KarlTzy for Team Liquid Philippines so far in this game. Andoryu and Lewis back off from the purple buff after stealing it. Sanji makes a very smart play of walking to the purple buff shrub. So now he's just there hoping he could get something, because you know the collapse is coming. You saw the play at the bottom of the map. You see the entry of Omega. This looks really good. So Sanji is able to get the pick-off that began the turnaround. Unfortunately, Team Liquid Philippines is not able to win this, but that was a great call by Sanji, great call by Team Liquid Philippines, and this extended the game to eventually forcing a game number 3 as Omega would be able to win this one. Things were not looking good for the Cavalry in game number 3. Omega looked like they were on the way to winning it. Jome got a solo kill onto Oheb. Sanford, at this point of the game, has already died 4 times. Omega got 2 turtles. They were invading Karl's jungle, but the beginning of the turnaround would happen here, because of what Team Liquid Philippines got to do while Omega were invading to rebalance things out in terms of the resources. Sanji, as you saw, walked as close as he can to Luis and Ukir so that his real-world manipulation would cover more area, and so that Omega would have to walk back even more. Andoryu was caught in this as well. See, Andoryu would get immobilized, he'll get a few hits, but he'll be able to get out because he already had a dash activated. You see Andoryu go back, Ukir go back, Luis trying to scramble his way out of here. Super Yoshi joins in to help, but you see him, he's just walking, trying to get out as well, and KarlTzy is able to get a kill onto Andoryu. Sanji will get taken down here, but here comes the counter. JP coming from behind, he's ready to bring it down, brings down the shortcut, gets Jome immobilized. Oheb goes in with the Zaman force. Jome will get eventually taken down by KarlTzy. Bang! Mega kill for him already. He's 4-0-1 at this point. Super Yoshi will be able to get away. Luis will be able to get a kill onto KarlTzy. But with taking down Andoryu and Jome in this sequence, and including Luis, who gets taken out, it eventually led to the next one. A very long Lord contention for Team Liquid Philippines. Omega has a very small gold lead, but at this point that is close to nothing. Team Liquid Philippines has 1 tower over Omega, but Omega have broken the middle tower of Team Liquid Philippines first. This is a very crucial contention for Team Liquid Philippines, and they pass it with flying colors. This lasts for more than a minute as Omega, you see, will start things off. Sanford already has the info. JP is in the right angle to go for his entry as the chip with the shortcut. He can disrupt, and he decides to do that. He conceals to the back. He will go after Super Yoshi. The knockup from the Lord delays Omega's entry a little bit. Sanford decides to go forward. He shows himself. The shortcut gets brought down, and Oheb is brought into the fight. Super Yoshi gets taken out. KarlTzy's shadow kill bounces off of Jome, who gets a considerable amount of damage here in the back. Around 50% he gets brought down to. Luis gets a catch onto JP, but that's just the roamer. Andoryu goes forward. Sanji able to flicker away, but he brings down the real-world manipulation, and Andoryu gets punished and taken out. And this is where hope looks great for Team Liquid Philippines. Because of this, Team Liquid Philippines has 3 minion waves favoring them past the center of the river amongst all lanes. Team Liquid will not continue this Lord here, as Luis decides to flicker forward and disrupt to buy time. Ukir will be close enough, and they're buying time for Andoryu, seeing if they can get a kill. They respond to KarlTzy almost getting taken down well enough that KarlTzy survives it and walks away with his next kill onto Luis. He's 7-1-2 at this point. The sequence continues, and posturing for Lord doesn't stop. Omega get caught out in the center as Sanji, Sanford, and JP find themselves in a perfect spot. JP used the Y walk from this portion of the map to go to where close to the purple buff of Omega. He decides to charge it up, the extra movement speed that turns into a targeted homing basic attack, knockback. Sanji, real world manipulation. It's not gonna catch, but he will push back. JP will get kicked, but he gets a shortcut off in time for Oheb to blast down Super Yoshi. Sanford is blasting down the back line as well alongside KarlTzy, who is eventually able to take down Jome. And this is where it all begins for Team Liquid Philippines again, because it began earlier when they were able to stop Omega's invade there, and they are finally able to take this Lord. Andoryu, Luis, and Ukir, desperate attempt at this point. They know there's no ultimate on the Hayabusa on the Eve, but the Harith is there. Sanford is more than enough of a disrupt, and TLPH, they decide to commit the turn. They take down, or Sanford gets taken down, but Luis gets taken down. KarlTzy able to dish out enough damage onto Andoryu, shadows out. Oheb gets the kill onto Andoryu. KarlTzy still survives. That was crazy how Karl was able to survive here. Let's track him. So when Team Liquid Philippines decide to commit the collapse, they enter. KarlTzy goes in, shadows, already uses the shadow kill to avoid getting crowd controlled by Lewis. Andoryu gets caught out. KarlTzy gets a kill onto Lewis. KarlTzy goes out of the shadow kill. Gonna let that play. KarlTzy tracking onto Andoryu. Oheb finishes him off, and with just a sliver of life, KarlTzy walks out. And at the end of this very long Lord dance, KarlTzy walks away with the Lord 9-1-4, and with smooth jazzy beats playing in the background and my face up here in the top corner. Let me just allow this to play out. Oheb a little bit too deep, diving under the tower, even though he was under the real world manipulation. Just watch KarlTzy. Okay, he's got no shadow, right? Lewis sees him. All right, they're going to chase down the Hayabusa. It would be big if they could get the Hayabusa down. Oh, immobilize. Use the flicker. Oh, he's terrified. Oh, he's down. No, he still has a shadow. Oh, he has another one. Omega decide to go forward. Oh, they're chasing after the goat. KarlTzy goes back with the last shadow. Commits the shadow kill. Oh, no, he's out. He's out again. He has another shadow. He gets out. And Omega are forced to go back. JP has the info. Team Liquid got to see that Omega, all of them, went all the way back. And Team Liquid now have map control. That's why he's the GOAT! All of that leading up to the final siege, the winning moment for Team Liquid Philippines. Watch what Sanji does here. JP is getting info close to the base, close to the back, so that they can see. That's all the info provided for Team Liquid. This is great placement by JP, great placement as well by Karl. They're going for a pincer maneuver. They have an assassin coming from one angle. They have the roamer coming in from another angle. And watch what Sanji does. Gets the info right. Bam! Saw that right? He used the flicker to reposition the real world manipulation just a little bit better. So Sanji from here, we'll let it play out. Commits the flicker. Well, he was a bit more here, so that he would end up here. Perfect placement of the real world manipulation. That's flashy. You don't need to do that. But that secures skills. And that secures the victory. That's why Team Liquid Philippines are so fun to watch. Thank you once again for watching another episode of Breakdown with Renmar. Comment down below which team you want to see get featured in the next episode, maybe. And I will do my best to accommodate that, since I also look at the series or the matches that happened in the week of MPL preceding the next episode of Breakdown with Renmar. Follow me on all the social media at Renmar S Cruz and Renmar Santa Cruz on Facebook. Renmar S Cruz is for the Instagram. I'm no longer going to be active on TikTok. But yeah, that's it. Hope you had fun. Hope you learned a lot. Thanks for watching.